and respond. I'll give you a response right after
No,
this.
that's fine. No worries. I'm probably have to check out. I've got a dental appointment at some odd hour that I've down in Southeast Denver. So if I leave, I won't.
No
Please don't
problem.
consider me rude.
No, no problem. Um, cool. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by. Did you guys see, did you guys hear about Donald Trump and Elon Musk's Twitter
Yeah,
space,
yeah,
X space last night?
yeah.
Did any of
I
you
I heard
watch?
about it. I didn't observe it.
I didn't get to see it, but it broke some records. Apparently 1.3 million live viewers, which I believe is a record for uh social media streaming viewing.
Huh.
Um
Hmm.
and I didn't get to watch I didn't listen to it yet, but um all the news is reporting that there was like technical issues with the space, probably because it was such a large amount of people trying to watch it. Elon said it might have even been a cyber attack. There's some disputed reports on that.
Well, sounds like there ought to be a conspiracy theory associated with that that pair.
Yeah. But Elon, I heard that Elon or Trump offered Elon to help him oversee some committee for reducing spending. Did you hear about
No,
that?
I
That would
didn't
be
hear that.
interesting. I'd like to see Elon in the White House doing his thing. That would be doing something. Seems like that would be fitting, you know. Maybe we'll have an Elon president at some point. That's the last thing he has to do.
Yeah, we'll
Not the way
see.
it's going right now, Matt. The election were today, Kamala would win, and Elon wouldn't have any role. And my I never really hardly go to it, but my homepage on my computer is MSN, and everything you see on MSN is it's like this honeymoon with Kamala. It's just like she's a new second coming. It's just so diametrically opposite to what they were reporting about her a month ago when she was the least favorite vice president in American history, and and now that she's the presumptive nominee, the has become a campaign arm for her campaign. It's really quite amazing. And so the reporting on the X interview with Trump and Musk was completely negative.
Huh.
And, fact checking everything, where on the other side of the ledger, they fact checked nothing. It just, I don't know. It makes my teeth bleed.
It seems like every time Elon or Trump, but Elon or Trump, anytime they do anything, anytime they take a breath, it's like it's like the most negative press ever. I don't know
The
how
haters
Elon
come
gets
in.
I seriously don't understand how Elon gets such a bad rap. And I know he's got some personal quirks, but it just seems like everything he does is really cool and important from my perspective. And it's just like we're watching like a genius that's just it's like I feel like I'm watching like Leonardo da Vinci, like the 21st century version
Huh.
Yeah, me
in
too.
real time doing everything. Like imagine buying a social media network, is just an amazing, like pretty incredible place to be in. So I always like watching what Elon does. I love him. I think he does a great service to the country with all his various projects. I see it's like I live in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley now. There are more Teslas than any other car. Like I feel weird driving. There's no cars that aren't electric. Like every car is electric almost, and I think he's a big reason for that. Um, I also really like and appreciate the willingness of Donald Trump to get on a space and talk for that long, kind of unscripted. I wish this was something that was more common and something that would be adopted in future or even this presidential race. I think we're so far past the current presidential debate format. Like it just seems like such a crappy way to debate ideas when in an age of podcasts and an
What
age,
debate? There are no debates.
yeah. But you know what I mean? We're all used to listening to podcasts now, and we're used to watching YouTube videos that are an hour long or, interviews with Joe Rogan that are 2 hours long, where you really get to understand and hear a person, and see what they're like. And I feel like that's such a useful service to the country when we're considering picking a leader. And so I admire that Donald Trump was willing to do that. I wish that Kamala or Joe Biden, I don't know what he's doing, but I wish Kamala would do the same thing. I feel like it would give a better idea to everybody about what's happening.
So just to interject, going back to your very first point about not understanding why Elon is hated, do you think that has anything to do with that he makes so much money? And, now if you make money, there's some sort of implied problem. You're gaming the system, you're influence peddling, you're doing something wrong in order to have made that much money. And boy, if you're rich enough to have your own airplane or your own rocket ship or your anything, then you're really a bad guy. And it's this sort of disdain for capitalism. And he's the richest guy out there in the top two or three, depending on where his stock is. And so he's hated for no other reason that then he's made too much money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand I've talked about it many times. I feel like, you just get to a certain point in life. We grow up as kids and everybody tells us if you work hard and you study, you'll become rich. And then you work hard and you study and you become rich, and then everybody hates you and like they want to take away all your money and like they think you're a bad person.
And that you don't pay enough taxes.
Yeah, it's kind of like you get sold a lie, it sounds like, But I hope to be as rich as I actually don't even know if I would say that. I don't even know if I want to be as rich as Elon because it seems like he's under pressure and stress. And we can laugh about it from our perspective, but he mentioned, and there were stories a few weeks ago that he's had multiple assassination attempts on him. He mentioned that after Trump's assassination attempt. And, the amount of pressure and scrutiny that he's under because he's been taking on the biggest companies, the biggest names, for years, and now getting into politics, getting into social media, election year, since, that whole arena is not a kind place for anyone to be, let alone somebody with so much to lose. And so I got to admire the fact that he's not afraid. Like he just keeps creating, and he just keeps being a genius, like I would imagine the other great, Leonardo da Vinci. He just keeps inventing, he's always got some project, he's always got some interesting idea, and it's like every time you see him in an interview, you just see this like brilliance that just kind of like spills out of him. It's like he can't. That's how I mean, I guess I'm kind of just a fan of Elon just because as an entrepreneur, I don't think you can get much better than him, or as a creative genius. Um, so yeah.
And now that you've got these assassination attempts, like or hate Trump, you got to hand it to him for being brave enough to get back up on the stage and give another speech after knowing the Secret Service is not doing their job properly with him or at all. And, I mean, that takes some guts. If it were me, I don't think I just don't know if I'd have that courage.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, absolutely. So yeah, anyways, that was the big news from yesterday. Trump's Trump and Elon Twitter space. Apparently he's back, or sorry, X, not Twitter. Apparently he's back on X,
Yep.
although he was still posting on Truth Social this morning. So I don't know. I follow an X account that live posts when he posts on Truth, because I'm not going to download. I don't need another social media, but it is interesting to hear what he says. So I've been seeing that he's been posting on Truth Social. So he's not fully back, but he has been posting. Yeah, I think he needs to get back on X ASAP if he wants to win. It doesn't look like it's looking very good for him right now. He needs to kind of get back to just putting his ear on the ground, listening to people, generating some energy there. But we'll see.
They asked at one of Kamala's rallies yesterday, they asked a couple of the people there what their favorite policy of Kamala's is. And nobody could answer. One lady actually did say that she's for abortion, but there were 5 or 6 other just people in the crowd. They couldn't come up with a policy. So we're going to have a president, it looks like, who we're just going to have to find out what her policy is after she's elected.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about her. Well, except for what she said years ago.
Yeah, she hasn't done many. I couldn't tell you. You know when you hear Trump, you think of immigration, building the wall, uh, financial trade protectionism. But I don't know what. I mean, I guess you got whatever they're doing now is kind of like a good.
No tax on tips,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
she stole.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyways, that's the political. That's kind of
Um,
technology because it was a historical moment for live streaming, 1.3 million viewers. If that was a cyber attack, that would be pretty scary. And everybody is quick to write off Elon, for saying that it was a cyber attack that crashed the live stream. But I'm not so quick to write off a genius, when he speaks. Like, he's a pretty smart guy. So I feel like, I don't know. I would like to see somebody write an article on all of the things that Elon was wrong about, because I feel like that article would not be very long. But anyways, we got some other interesting stories. As always, there's a lot of people out there trying to steal your information, trying to scam you, trying to phish you. I heard of a new term reported on by Wired magazine, technology. It's kind of a technology publication called smishing. Smishing. Have you heard of that?
yes. Earlier today, you wrote it.
Wow. Yeah. See, well, and I don't know what we'll talk a little bit about it. So I guess smishing is like a specific type of phishing, which is, when scammers try to trick you into faking you into giving them sensitive information like your credit card or your address or your phone number or whatever. So that's phishing. Usually I think phishing happens on the phone or email. But smishing happens when they send text messages, which we all get all the time, scamming text messages. So I was trying to figure out, I should have asked Perplexity. I was trying to figure out how they came up with the word smishing. And I think it must be because it's like SMS is like texting. Smishing is referring to texting. So I'm thinking SMS maybe is because that's kind of smish, SMS. But anyways, I like the term. It's really fun to say, smishing. So there's like this whole Wired article, really good article, honestly, that talks about this guy who like pretty much a normal guy, cybersecurity guy, whose wife got scammed by USPS by this major scam text thing. And he basically turned into Liam Neeson and like tracked down this entire operation. It was a bunch of Chinese companies that were selling how to do this phishing campaign to hundreds of anybody who wanted to do it, basically. And he did a ton of work and like hacked their websites and reported all of it to the US authorities. Pretty cool story. A lot more stories like that I've been hearing. people are really fed up with the scammers, obviously. And for a while there, I would say like 5 or 6 years ago, it really felt like it was a problem that didn't have a solution, or it felt hopeless. I don't know. Do you guys feel like that? It seemed like when we were getting calls, people get less calls, I think, now. But maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, it seemed like there was an endless barrage of spam calls.
Well,
I,
I have a landline. I have a landline. I get quite a few. It just says spam, and I never answer them. Of course, I don't ever. But I get 3 or 4 a day on a landline.
Yeah.
I
I
get
don't get it.
maybe 20 or 30 a day on my cell phone.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
don't get any on my. I don't get any on my cell to
That's pretty
speak
good.
of. But but landline, I get eight. 4 to 8 a day, maybe. And of course, I just don't answer the phone don't if I don't know the number or if it says. And my phone says spam on it when they.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good that you do that.
Yeah, yeah,
But anyways, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I feel like and maybe that's still the case for most people. I get tons of spam calls and texts. I never have really stopped. Um, and there was never really a solution. Recently, like last 3 or 4 years, they started doing that like spam blocking thing, like where your phone will kind of tell you that it suspects that it's spam. That seems to have helped a little bit, but it doesn't stop it. I still,
no,
um, and so for a while, it just seemed like it was like this wave, that was kind of unstoppable. And I don't know for me, for what I've been reading and kind of my personal feeling, the last few weeks, I feel like the tide has shifted, and I actually can see that, or I would predict that we'll be seeing the end of scamming and phishing as we know it
God,
within
I
the
hope so.
next 2 or 3 years. And a huge reason for that is Apple's intelligence. We talked a little bit last week about Apple intelligence, but specifically for email scams, Apple intelligence is going to be able to, they say, read your emails and predict with pretty good accuracy which ones are scams, phishing. Um, so that will help with the emails, and I have good I don't know, I have a good feeling that there's just like the good guys are going to start to win this fight. There's so many YouTube channels, Twitch channels, people that are literally on YouTube going live every day, just like busting scammers that are just like
yeah,
tracking down scammers,
yeah,
finding them, publishing their information. Most of them
yeah,
are in India and China.
yeah,
So much so
yeah.
that I watch these guys. I'll share one of the best videos I've ever seen about it. There's one guy named Doc Compton. Actually, we brought it up. He had this like whole worksheet about how you can make scammers pay you. So basically, he would catch, and if you can get a certain amount of information about the company that the scammer is reaching out from, if they're in the U.S., um, they have to pay you if they got your phone number or address illegally, which most of the times they did. And but anyways, this guy goes live on YouTube every day, and he's just like this dad. He's probably like 60, and he's just sitting there and he's just busting scan. He just got like 4 laptops, and he's just calling people all day and tracking them down, getting their information about their companies, publishing it. And he does it so much. And he's just one of many of these like influencers online that are like busting scammers, because it's like a TV show now. It's like people tune in to just watch all these guys that we hate so much get owned, by they call it like scam baiters or something. But they're so common that like you watch these guys shows, and a lot of the scammers are expecting that the guy is going to be the guy who's catching them. Like they know that this is like an industry. They know a lot of YouTubers are doing this because it's good entertainment. And I don't know. And so with AI coming to Apple, I really do. I do think that scamming is going to get a lot better, but it's probably going to get a lot worse too. Uh,
Yeah,
You
yeah,
what's
know what the unintended consequence for me is? Through my company server, they they already scan everything that comes in, And so this morning I got an email from a jeweler in Denver called Hyde Park. And they're a reputable jeweler in the Cherry Creek Mall that has been a Denver company for, I don't know, years, probably 30 or more years. And it's a high-end jewelry store. So I click on it to see this watch that they're advertising. And my blocker, it's called Mimecast, says the email's blocked for your protection.
Yeah.
And it's reputable. So it
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, the logos look legitimate. Everything about them. I mean, it's scary. I mean,
but this one was legit because I sent it over to my home account where I don't have that blocker through my company. And it
mhm.
opened right up, and there's the watch. And it was a cool watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
so now even legit things are getting filtered for some reason.
Yeah. Speaking
Yeah,
of
well,
watch, I got a watch. I don't know if I got an Apple Watch finally. Um, Never had one before. I really like it. I always thought I wasn't going to like it for some reason. I don't know what I was thinking. These things are awesome. Um,
yeah.
They are cool. Heart rate and steps and
yeah.
blood pressure, the whole thing.
Does it show miles?
Yes, it
How many
does.
miles? Okay.
And it shows yardage to the golf hole. That's what I like. Yardage to the golf hole.
Well, that's just crazy. I get this stuff. Thanks for purchasing Bitcoin with PayPal. Shit. What
Oh, yeah.
what kind of an email is that? I just deleted it, of course.
Yeah, well, that's good. And that's actually, and then it says, just call this number. If this wasn't
Well, I
you,
don't.
hey,
I just
call this
deleted it.
number. We'll fix it for you right away,
Yeah,
right?
then it says I have a $937 bill that I need to pay.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah.
Right. I get those too.
I've never even heard of PayPal. I mean, I've heard of it, but I don't have anything to do with PayPal.
Yeah. Well,
But imagine that that same company sent that same email to 1 million people,
that's what they do.
and
Yeah.
999,999 say, I didn't buy anything through PayPal, and they delete it. But that 1 out of 1 million is what
Open
they're
it.
looking for.
Yeah.
It's way better margins than 1 out of 1 million. It's more like, 1 out of 100, to be honest.
Yeah.
One of speaking of kind of phone scams, last week, Stu, do you remember me telling you about my phone that I broke? That I
The
had to
back,
get, yeah, that I had to get set up or sent
yeah,
back. So I
yeah,
got the new one. I got it all set up. I cracked my iPhone. I had this Verizon insurance. You pay $99 deductible. They send you a new phone. And they have this number. So I open up they send me this box and it's got the new phone. It says like Assurian or something.
right,
Got the new phone, and like the first thing you see when you open this box is this big card that says, call this number, call an expert now to set up your device. And I called the number, and we talked about it a little bit last week. And this was like a legal version of a scam, in my opinion, because they pose as this like tech support guru who's supposed to help you set up your new phone. And I talked to these people for 30 minutes because I was just curious. They call themselves tech coach experts. I was like, hey, I'm kind of a tech coach expert. Let's see what they're doing. Maybe I can learn a few things or
Yeah.
something. And so I call them and I'm like, hey, I just got a new phone. I want to make sure all my passwords and my documents and contacts are moved to the new phone. And so the woman, who was definitely from the Philippines, said, yeah, just go to iCloud, make sure all your stuff's backed up on iCloud. Super simple, very, very simple instruction. And they would only show you how to back it up through iCloud, which for some people that doesn't work because they either don't have enough iCloud space or they don't want to use the cloud. But anyways, the rest of the 30-minute call was her trying to sell me on this Verizon Total Device Protection Program, which is an additional $25 a month. and they claim to insure all of the devices in your home. Meaning, she was telling me every device in your home can be replaced for a deductible of up to $100. So the maximum deductible you pay for any device in your home is $100 if anything breaks. And so I have a lot of expensive technology, $3,000 MacBook. My wife has cameras. We got monitors, TVs, Apple homes, speakers. And she's like, yeah, all these things are covered. And it really did. I was talking to Stu a little bit about it last week. I did some deeper dives into the terms and conditions of the Verizon Total Device Protect program, and it's a total scam. Like
Really?
they do not, uh, they do not insure all of your devices in the way that you would want them to be insured. They
Oh
It-
boy.
insure certain things that you have to have proof of purchase, which is a very vague,
Like
uh,
your receipt.
yeah, like you
Who
have to
does that?
that, from a TV that you bought 10 years ago, right? Like no
Right.
way. Um,
Or your Ring doorbell? I don't have my receipt.
yeah, exactly. Or even if your wife, like for example, my wife probably bought our TV, and because it has to be owned by me, even though I'm married,
Uh,
it has to be purchased by me. So her camera that she bought that's super expensive, is not going to be covered under
Good.
the same thing, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. So
Yeah.
anyways, it goes back to my tip, and I want to frame this. So it's like, it reminds me of those emails because you get this
right.
thing and you're like, oh, here's a
Well,
phone number.
you're curious about it.
Yeah.
What is this bill? What
And
is
you
this?
always want, right?
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
talk to somebody, especially when it's something as sensitive as like transferring data in between new phones. And it goes back to I have this presentation that I do about security and how to not get scammed. And the first thing I always tell people is if you can call a phone number and somebody picks up right away, it's
Right.
probably not in your best interest to talk to that person. And Stu probably knows that as a salesman. But this exactly applies to this. So I get this phone number is plastered all over in every aspect of this box. And they're saying it's a tech coach expert that's going to help you. But you're really getting connected to a salesman for the Verizon device protection program. And in my opinion, it's a total scam. And it falls into that category of if you call and they pick up right away, you're getting sold something. So if
Is that a scam by the Verizon company?
Yes.
They're a
yeah,
big company, aren't they?
yeah,
Why? Why?
absolutely.
But I mean, I'm sure there's maybe aggressive salespeople that work for those big, but why would Verizon be in the scamming business?
Well,
Well,
it's not
it's
a
not a scam per se. It's selling you something you don't need.
Yeah, well, I think that's accurate, Stu. I understand that. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
more sense.
Yeah.
It's not exactly cheating you. It's just
Right.
trying to sell you something that
but I
you.
say that the area is a little gray because
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm a very tech savvy person, and this woman was really good at and very, very pushy. Like
Yeah.
30 minutes. I have the whole call recorded. I'll upload it to YouTube one of these days so you can
Yeah.
hear it. And it's totally something that if it sounds amazing. Like it really does sound good. It also comes with unlimited tech support, which is another thing that I don't think is really something that they live up to. But if I was an older person or somebody that wasn't as familiar with technology, I almost did it myself. So it seems like one of those things where it's like a $25 a month add-on fee that goes silently into your bill that you could easily forget that you even paid for. It's like
Yeah.
a whole other thing. But anyways, so I recommend against the Verizon device protection program. I might have to go on a crusade on YouTube and do a deep dive on why people shouldn't do it.
Would you ever switch carriers?
Would I
Would
ever?
you? Would you because of that?
Definitely. I've considered it many times. I wanted to do uh I was interested in the Xfinity mobile.
And
Uh
they use Verizon cell
uh
towers,
yeah. Yeah.
and it's a
Yeah.
lot cheaper.
Is
I
that what?
went into the Xfinity store and they tried to sell me it, and it sounded really attractive. And I came home and my wife poo-pooed it. And so we're still with Verizon.
I've had good luck with Verizon. I don't do anything with them, but they're
They're always
okay.
nice. I think their service is good. I always get good service with them. But yeah, we're kind of locked in with service providers, telecom providers. That's another one that's just seems like a kind of a monopolistic. You don't have much flexibility as a consumer. But hopefully Elon's going to release the Starlink Tesla phone here pretty soon. And uh,
Well, what do you mean by that, Matt? I think you've got mobility. I mean, if you wanted to go to T-Mobile or, now that I'm old, there's this company called AMAC for retired people. Um, they have a service, you can switch, but the problem is a lot of people buy their phone from Verizon, and if you pay for it over time on your bill,
yeah,
and if you switch out, you owe them a bunch of money,
yeah,
and
a
so people
3 year
don't switch out
contract.
because of that.
Yeah, it's like a 3 year. My phone's on like a 3 year contract or something. Uh,
Right.
no, I think I mean you do have mobility. Chuck actually, who isn't here today, is an expert at getting the best deal on phones, and he tells me he has this like system. Have you guys ever heard him talk about this? He
No,
goes,
No,
he switches like his entire family's cellular service provider like every 2 years, and he has done it for like the last 10 years or
huh,
something.
huh,
And because he shops around deals, and if you watch the commercials, there's always the switching deals, right? Where T-Mobile will say, if you
right,
switch, we'll give
right.
you 4 new iPhone 10Xs, and free service for a year. And so basically he like shops around every
huh,
year and goes to the different stores or calls them. I don't know his exact, he told me a while ago. And he does take those deals, and he says he doesn't, it's not like a cheat code where he's getting free service, but he says he gets really good discounts regularly, and he's been doing it for a long time. And he takes his
huh.
whole family, five lines or whatever, and they don't
Wow.
change their phone number. So um yeah, the deals are out there if
That falls under the life's too short category for me. You did a spreadsheet on the hours invested and grief and so forth versus what you're just paying if you stay on Verizon. I don't
exactly,
know if the delta is big enough to make me want to change.
exactly. Hey, a penny saved is a penny earned.
I don't know. Usually, yes. But
Yeah.
then you get rich and people that hate you.
Yeah, that's true. Don't earn too many pennies, or else they'll take them. So yeah, so that's what other that was a huge, that's my broken phone update. Um, oh, real quick, I wanted to show you guys how good the AI image generators are getting. I don't know, you probably haven't been keeping up with it. Maybe you have.
No, I haven't.
Um, there's some serious uh we're headed down a weird path. That's all I gotta say. And there's this interesting thread on Twitter that I wanted to show you of all of these pictures of women that were made in Chat GPT. And you just got to look at them to see, just to have an idea of how uh good, realistic these AI image generators are getting. So this is on X. Somebody made a thread of all of these photos of women are made in Chat GPT.
That's a fake.
That's a fake picture. Yeah, you can kind of tell because the Apple logo isn't centered and doesn't really look like the Apple logo. It's not where it
Oh
usually
boy,
would be.
it's like, where's Waldo?
Yeah, this one made by AI. This one's AI. I mean, this is like I looked at these and I genuinely would not be able to tell that these are made by AI. So
Where do these appear? I mean, how do you see
generate
these?
Chat GPT. So
Yeah,
if
but you had to go on there.
So you can
Who's
just
that?
type in a prompt that says blonde girl smiling in a mid-sized SUV,
Yeah.
white t-shirt on, taking a selfie.
But these aren't celebrities or anything, people we would know, are they?
No, they're just like random,
People.
yeah,
I see.
randomly.
But they're not even people, Pete. These are fakes.
Yeah, right, right. But they're not supposed to represent,
Right.
No, they're just,
not
yeah, artificially created. So,
but
anyways, I thought that was pretty, like even this is a fake group photo. Like it's pretty, I mean, all of these are fake. I don't know. It definitely makes you I
weird.
don't know. I saw that. I felt like I had to share it just so you kind of
Yeah,
know,
weird.
just so you know
Weird.
that's out there. Be extra careful. I'm really glad I'm married and I don't have to be on dating apps right now. That's all I gotta say. Because yeah, it's gotta be a scary time to be a guy on a dating app who's not into other guys. I'll say that.
Yeah.
What about a girl? My
It's always been scary
26
for
girl
girls.
just broke up with her boyfriend a month or two ago and is, still sort of singing the blues and is thinking about going on, I think it's called Hinge.
Oh yeah, best of luck to her. Tell her to be careful. Show her that's what you gotta. I mean, just she's probably up to date with all this stuff, but the amount
Probably.
of fake images and stuff is really something. And the real scary thing about it is you can create a character in Chat GPT. So I could create a digital version of myself, maybe, or I could say, hey, there's a guy, create a white guy with a mustache wearing an orange t-shirt, sitting at a desk. And it will remember like what that creation is. So then you could say, take that same guy, put him in front of taking a selfie in front of an ocean. Put that same guy and put him in a basketball jersey playing, in some rec league game, and so it's the level of fakes and the complexity of the fakes are already at a on one hand, it's extremely impressive, but in like the dating world, if I was on a dating app, I would have my uh yeah, I would have my sensors.
Well, what good does it do once you get that first date and then you're found out?
I don't think they even go that far. You can do a lot of damage just on the phone, just asking for pictures, maybe money, maybe
Oh,
time, maybe sexual
yeah.
sexting stuff. That's where I think it gets. There was yeah, a few people I've talked because everybody I know, everybody that's my age. I mean, I'm getting older now. I'm 29, but everybody that's my age is on the dating apps. Like nobody does anything in person. Nobody meets anybody in person, and the amount of like catfishes, that's what it's called, I think, that I've heard from people in real life, especially for women, is like pretty unbelievable. Like people will be talking to them. They'll say, "Oh, I live in New York." They're in San Francisco. "Oh, I live in New York. I'm the super rich guy," and they'll be talking to him for months, and then turns out he's
Yeah.
just a guy from Bangalore or something.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Amazing.
be careful out there. Be careful out there. The AI pictures are getting really good, and they still haven't even released the AI video, AI image to video or text to image or text to
Now,
video,
I
which
don't think I'm getting on a dating app anytime soon.
yeah, but the problem is it's gonna affect
I,
way
I
more
don't think
people.
I don't think that's in my future.
Yeah.
Mine either.
Yeah, but for everything, when you're on social media, you'll see videos. You'll be on Facebook, and you'll see a video of, wait, is that Kamala Harris saying that she did this? It's like you got to be extra careful. Um, so so yeah. Well, in other news, feels like this news I'm kind of numb to, but there was what they're calling. I feel like if you read tech newspapers like I do, you get one of these stories every every week, but apparently a hacker just leaked 10 billion passwords.
Wow,
This is
that's a
from
lot.
PC World on
10 billion?
yeah, 9.94 billion leaked passwords.
Well, how many human beings are there on the planet?
Well, there's a lot more passwords than human beings.
Hmm.
How many? Because you have each of us have probably
Okay.
um passwords. I probably have 250 myself. But uh yeah, so they're calling it the mother of all password data leaks. Um and basically there's one of these articles, like it seems like every month there's some huge leak, and they all say, here's what to do next, to get you to read the article. So I'll save you some time. Here's what you're supposed to do. Check your bank. Maybe change your most important passwords. So think your bank or your investments or your anything, social security, anything that's online that's would be really bad if somebody got into that they shouldn't have access to. Maybe a good time to go in there and just update your password, make a new one. If you use a password manager, change the password to your password manager. If you don't use a password manager, you should definitely consider using a password manager. If you're a type of person that uses the same password for everything, you're especially vulnerable to this type of excuse me, sorry. If you're the type of
You know,
person.
Matt, I'm going to have to ask you if you'll sell me a couple hours of your time to instruct me on password managers.
Yeah, happy to. Sure. No problem. Um, they're really
Because it seems now, I use a VPN, but I think you need a password manager.
yeah, well, and really to be more specific, you need to have different passwords for every account. That's the number one indicator of making sure you're safe from online chaos. So you don't need a password manager per se, but if you go through and you make different passwords for every single account, and all of those passwords are actually the strong ones, which means they're more than 12 characters, include symbols and uppercase and lowercase letters, you'll go crazy if you don't have a password manager. So that's basically that's the pitch. You don't need a password manager, but if you are doing everything correctly, not having a password manager to autofill these things for you, to organize them, to make sure they're synced over all of your devices will cause you a lot of trouble.
But Matt, if you have a LastPass account like I do, isn't that a level of protection? Even if you have a dumb, simple password
Yes,
that's in that, if
absolutely.
that's in that account, has a verification two-step process, doesn't that sort of protect that
Yeah.
stupid password?
Yes. Yeah, it does. It does help.
Yeah,
But and more and more these days,
because I've got a lot of stupid.
you're more and more these days, websites are actually encouraging us now to use passkeys. So passkeys are now a different form of passwords, that don't require you to have a username or a password. And so the most common passkey is like your fingerprint or your face scan capability. And so that's another way to do it. Another way to increase security. They're saying passkeys are even more secure than passwords these days. So yeah, just something to be aware of. This isn't one of those things where you're probably fine. You would notice, but just it's always good to do a little bit of a check. Make sure especially your email. That would be a good one. Email is like a really overlooked one that's really important to not get hacked. Maybe change your email password if you haven't in a while, your primary email, because they can do a lot of damage. I feel like every week I get an email from somebody who's saying, "Hey, I'm out of town. Like, can you buy my daughter a gift card from Apple for her birthday or something?"
Yeah,
I think Mitch Benedict from Rotary had that happen to him a couple.
yeah.
But so anyways, that's that's kind of an ongoing story. That could just be a story that is published every 2 weeks in like the PC magazine. Is like, there's a huge password breach. Here's what you have to do. And then it's just like 5 bullet points. It's like, yeah, change your passwords, make them long and complicated, use a password manager, and then use two-factor authentication or Face ID or thumbprint access whenever you can. So happy to help you, Stu. Get whenever you are feeling up to it on
I
passwords.
think what I need to do is make sure my wife is here and do it on a Zoom.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
Hey, Matt,
Other
I've got to leave for my appointment, so I
okay, cool.
apologize.
See you later, Pete. I'm
Well, if
gonna
you
All
don't
right.
have any cavities, Pete,
the story that you're
Thank
gonna
you.
miss, actually a really cool one. So do you remember Martin Shkreli? Do you know that name? Martin Shkreli. And he was infamous as a quote pharma bro who raised the price of insulin or some diabetes drug by like 4,000%. Like he bought the company and then
oh, that guy. Yeah, yeah,
spiked,
yeah.
spiked the cost, and he ended up making a lot of money. He actually did nothing illegal, and there's this whole other story. The media said he was like this demon. If you
Right.
listen to his side of the story, he was actually kind of not bad at all. It was like, it's a complicated story, of course, but he ended up going to jail for he was sentenced to prison for like 7 years, not for that, for like securities fraud, which I have no idea what that entails. But he's been out of prison since 2022, and he's a pretty brilliant guy,
Yeah.
to say the least. Like he's one of those. He's like a dark Elon. Like it just seems like no
Right.
matter
I think
what he
it's
does, he can
like
spin up.
Chaparelli.
Yeah, Shekreli. Yeah, this
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. I read about him,
He
but
is.
not since he got out of jail.
Huh?
I haven't heard anything since he has been released.
Yeah, and but he's back. And this guy.
Right.
And he's I mean he's a genius. He's a genius guy, but he bought the like one of a kind Wu-Tang album. Basically, he got fined over $70 million for whatever he did to go to prison for financial crimes. But he's back, and so he's made like multiple companies that are worth like 100 million. Like it just seems like whenever he does anything, he gets some. He's just like an entrepreneur to the T. Brilliant genius. Love him or hate him, you can't deny that he's gonna he's gonna win.
Yeah.
He's gonna make a lot of
He's
money.
American, right?
Yeah. Yep. And he's actually a pretty. I mean, I hope I can say this without everybody getting mad. I think he's a really inspiring guy. I've looked into his story. He has some amazing YouTube videos where he's talking about finance 101. Like he's teaching, you know, the masses, because he kind of did this PR campaign after the whole spinoff, the fallout of the drug price story, to prove he wanted to basically prove that like he wasn't a bad guy, that like the media was unfairly covering that story. He gave his side of the story.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Of course, it wasn't as widely reported, whatever, yada, yada,
Right.
yada. Story
Right.
off. But his new company is an AI doctor. And it's using Chat GPT, it's using Chat GPT's source code and a modified version to give medical advice, like instant medical advice from a doctor um, at a fraction of the cost anytime. And so right now, Chat GPT, he was talking about it on YouTube. Chat GPT can pass what's it called? The medical doctor exam. I'm not remembering
Yeah,
whatever.
like the MCATs or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, the MCAT with like a 95%, like which is like way higher than most doctors even do. And so he basically made a version of Chat GPT that acts as a doctor that can answer any questions you have about your health. you can input your vitals information to it, and it gives you instant information, just like you would be talking to a doctor. And it's a pretty huge deal. And it's called Dr. Gupta.ai, Dr. Gupta. And so I wanted to just show you real quick.
By the way, while you're doing that, I read this article about young doctors and the quality of young doctors, and it's eroded beyond belief because of DEI.
Yep.
You know, the college grads are getting grades because of DEI. They're getting accepted into medical schools because of DEI. And then when they don't pass, they're afforded liberties to pass those MCATs and everything else to become doctors. And then they stink. They're not as good as a doctor who did it the old fashioned way by merit. And, the thing that always gets me, if DEI is so good, then why do you complain when somebody calls you a DEI hire? That should be good also.
Yeah. No, I
You know,
know. It's a huge.
it's oh man, our world is so fucked up right now. All right, sorry.
Elon's on that. He's anti DEI. All the smart people seem to be anti DEI. But anyways, yeah, this is it. So I mean, this is also kind of his vision, as I was watching on YouTube, is that basically he said the exact same thing to you. He said, hey, there's a shortage of doctors. Most of the costs of healthcare goes to paying doctors fees, like paying for the doctor's time, paying for the employees of the doctor. And his case is that basically most of the questions that doctors ask or answer don't need to are answerable by Chat GPT or that could be answerable by a AI doctor. So he made one. His company is called this Dr. Gupta, Gupta being short for GPT. So
Yeah,
GPT,
okay.
GPT, Gupta. And anyways, it's a pretty simple, it's the same thing as Chat GPT, just modified. And so you can input your age, all your vitals, basically. I'm pretty fat right now, so I'm like 265, but
Are you 265?
yeah,
And what are you, 6'4"?
yeah.
Well,
But I feel
you
great. That's the thing. I've been playing basketball every day. I can just move people around.
you can carry that much weight.
But anyways, you see it. I just wanted to pass it along, and maybe you can share it with anybody who's having or losing trust in the medical system or needs affordable medical advice. That's his big thing. Um, my wife uses Chat GPT for medical questions all the time. She's a little bit of a hypochondriac, and I'm gonna make her use this because like this is actually built for uh getting you really good personalized questions, saving you time.
My daughter's a little bit of that way too. Something happens and her head immediately goes, well, maybe I have cancer, or maybe I've got this, or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, and the cool thing about this too is if you look up here at the top, it sources everything. So this is all public. All of the information that it's pulling from is from public medical PubMed, which is the national database of all
That's cool.
stuff. So I just wanted to pass it along, and just so you have a tool in your tool belt, if you ever find the situation where you need this could be really helpful. And we live in the U.S., which has relatively good healthcare. It's expensive, it's inefficient, but if we really need to get it, we can get it. But if you think about the application of this in a place that doesn't have access to good doctors, like the Philippines, or like any third world country, where getting medical advice is really challenging and really expensive or not even available. That's his kind of vision here, is he's trying to take a chunk out of the largest business in the US.
What about privacy concerns?
That is good. I mean, that's a good question. Privacy, you can read about it here. It's not, I wouldn't, if you're concerned about privacy, I probably wouldn't be encouraging you to use
Well,
this.
the whole world will know that you're 265 and that your blood albumin level is at 115 and so on and so forth.
Yeah. I don't think, I mean, I'm kind of, I think we're in a place where we're past privacy. Like there's no, that's my personal feeling now is,
Yeah,
this story that we covered a few weeks ago of the Secret Service getting into using an Israeli company to get into the shooter's phone when technically you should never be able to do that no matter what. Just seems like we kind of need to get over that, especially with AI. AI by its nature is going to steal is intellectual um property theft. Like all AI is just taking information from the internet that other people created and packaging it in a new way and giving it to you. It's basically plagiarism by design. And I think that we're going to be moving to a place where there's no like privacy as we know it is not going to be a thing if you want to fully participate in the technological advancements that are coming. That's my kind of, and you pay for, you pay a price for it, but
right. But what is the price? And I guess it's not that much.
20
Who
bucks
cares if somebody knows how much you weigh?
20 bucks a month. And they would say if you talk to Martin Shkreli, he would say of course they don't share any of this information with
Uh,
anybody, but
until they're
until they get hacked, or something. But like, I don't know.
what's $20 a month?
Yeah, 20 bucks a month. It's like, geez, you tack that on to every
Dr. Gupta's is $20 a month.
yeah, for unlimited messages. You get 6 free messages per month. So if you want to
Oh,
try it out, you can try it. And I mean, it's cool because so much of our, like, I'm just looking at it right now. You can input your vitals. I did a ever since COVID is the last thing I'll say. COVID has completely changed healthcare, right? Like everybody's now doing telemedicine. I recently signed up for my insurance, or when I opened my Blue Shield app, they're like, hey, you can get an instant teledoc 24/7. Talk to a doctor in 2 minutes. I'm like, hey, that sounds kind of cool. I scheduled a primary care visit with my doctor virtually. Literally a day later, before the appointment, I get a package on my front door that's like it's a huge package. It came with a scale, a blood pressure monitor, a blood test kit, all for free through my insurance. And so I was able to weigh myself, take my blood pressure, send in my blood so that they could do blood tests.
how did you draw your blood?
It was just a prick. It wasn't an official,
Uh,
it wasn't like I didn't do the full panel, but I mean, with this information, I could plug it all in here. I haven't done it yet, but I have all the information that
well, how did your computer do a prostate check?
I mean, yeah, of course. It's not going to take the place of a doctor, but, but for people that are, maybe an older person who is getting sick, who may have pneumonia, but doesn't know it, and if you're if you're over 75 or 80 and you get pneumonia, right, you can be dead in like 3 days, whereas like this type of
Right.
thing,
So they'll send you a message saying you need to go get a prescription.
yeah, or you need to go to a doctor, or
Yeah,
whatever. But
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the biggest thing that we're missing in our healthcare system is doctors have a limited amount of time. My wife just broke her knee, has a messed up Achilles. She had to wait 3 weeks to get an appointment, 4 weeks to get an MRI. You get one slot with the doctor, right? And the doctor was rushed and he's got a million other things to do. And she's the type of woman that asks a lot of questions, which I love about her, and the doctor's getting like frustrated. She has like 3 minutes to talk to the doctor. The doctor's getting like frustrated by her questions, and it just really bothered me because we're paying so much money for this insurance. We're paying for care. We barely even get to see this guy. And then for the 5 minutes or so that he gets to answer our questions, it's like he's in a rush and he doesn't have time for us. And, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So, uh,
Yeah.
this I think will be,
I've got one of those. I'm losing my vision to something called macular degeneration.
oh, I know that very well.
And so every couple of weeks, I've got to go in and get injections in my eyes.
Wow. Yeah.
And the doctor schedules his appointments every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So you go to one guy, one lady, she does you look in the machine, they does that thing. Then you go into the chair and they numb up your eyes, and then the doctor comes in. Hi, how are you? Your pictures look good. Okay, open wide, little pinch, shoots you up, makes a U-turn, and it's gone. If you've got any questions, I've got to write them down because I'll forget, because I'm so freaked out about watching a needle come into my eye
Yeah.
that I forget. So I pull out my questions. Hey, doc, what about this one? Yeah,
Yeah. He's walking out the door. Yeah, you're good. We'll see you in a month. Peace.
right.
It's like, all right, but so I'm hopeful about this. Obviously it's going to be controversial because they're facing like major lawsuits already from US, privacy, all the things that you would expect. But he's a bull in a china shop, and he's saying if the US isn't going to allow us to pursue this, we'll take over the rest of the world, because there's third world countries out there that need medical information at a low price, and they'll be able to do it. So that's all I got for you today. Thanks for coming by, Stu. It's always a pleasure. I'll see
Me
you.
too.
I'll see you next time. Let me know if you need help with passwords too. Send me a
Thanks,
call,
Matt.
text.